All right, so today I want to talk about creativity and understanding your own creativity, and by extension, motivation. That's kind of a weird thing to say at first, so I'll hopefully be able to disambiguate that and talk about it a little bit. What I mean by that is what makes you creative and what motivates you to do things. So I'm going to use myself as an example, and I haven't heard too many people talk about this, so I don't even really know. I don't have good language for this, is what I'm trying to say, but it's something I've thought about a lot. I do programming content. I love programming. I also do woodworking. I really like woodworking. I mean, you can see my ceiling. I put that up myself. I faced one of the beams in wood. I built the desk that is right in front of me. I love that. I also make music. I'm a musician. I have albums on Spotify where I do like piano and even like some metal electronic stuff. The point is, I have various hobbies, and some are very analytical, like programming, and some are very creative, like music making. Now, a lot of analytical brain goes into music making, mastering, production, mixing, all that stuff. And a lot of creativity goes into coding. So it's not like they only live in their respective realm and that's it. No, there's a lot of intermingling between the two. But the thing I've noticed about myself, and this is kind of strange, and I don't even really know how to talk about this, but maybe someone out there can resonate with this, is I go in waves. It's like a sine wave. And for me, it's every 6 to 9 months. Like I've really introspected and thought about this a lot, okay? I transition from being really into programming and coding and the analytical mindset, and then out of nowhere, the creativity comes in, and then I just want to make music and make very artistic style content. If you watch my content long enough, you'll probably notice that it seems to shift between the two. Luckily, I have my programming outlet and I have my music outlet, but it can be tough when I'm not in the programming mindset to sit down and work on programming content. It feels like in a video game, like I have a debuff. Like I can do it. I can make myself write music when I want to program, and I can make myself program when I want to write music, but it takes a lot of effort, a lot of consciously overriding effort. Whereas if I'm in the music mode and I'm writing music, it almost empowers me. I feel like energy coming up. But if I'm in the programming mode and I'm writing music, I feel my energy levels going down, and I only have a certain amount of time where I can do it before I'll get completely fried. I don't know why that is, but that's just what I've noticed about myself if I just step back and look at my life. So, like I said, every 9 months, it seems to change. In fact, I can even tell you right now, we're in October of 2024 at the time of this recording. The shift is here. The shift's been here for the last couple of weeks. I am shifting into music mode. I've been totally into programming since I started this YouTube channel. And don't worry, I still have a lot of content I'm going to make, and I am passionate about it, but I can tell that I'm going to spend a lot of time working on music stuff. And I just step back and I notice that that's a thing that happens. And I have friends where they're kind of similar, but I have friends that waver way differently. They're at a higher frequency. And what I mean by higher frequency, I mean literally if you picture a sine wave and you condense it and you raise the frequency, they will do what I do, but they'll switch like every month. I have a buddy who will be really into like gaming, and then he'll be really into whatever else hobby, and then whatever programming, and he's like, oh, I'm getting back into computer mode. It seems to be like on a month or 2 month basis. Whereas me, it could take 6, 9 months, sometimes a year before I switch. It's a very it's not a slow process. When the switch happens, it's fast, but I'll be in a given mode for 3 seasons usually. I've noticed other people seem to waver within the day. Like they'll be in a mood to do something, or they'll be in like a programming mode, and then a couple hours will go by and they're done. Like they're in creative mode, but then, they'll go right back into programming mode. And this can be annoying for them because it gets hard to work on long-term projects because you have to keep context switching. Whereas for me, if I'm in the right mode, long-term projects are really easy. I can just wake up and keep wanting to do the same thing. That's great. So this video has kind of been meandering. It's been mostly about me, but I wanted to sort of make it more general and say, I think it's important to understand your creativity. Yes, I want to know more about mine. I want to know why that is. I want to find language that explains it. I'm sure I'm not the first person who's learned about this, okay? There are people out there who probably study this phenomenon. I just don't know what it is. I don't know how to talk about it. But I think this is generally applicable to everyone else. You should take the time to learn how you work. This is just good general life advice. You should understand if you're one of those people that I can program in the morning, but then at night, I don't want to. Or I can, get into a really programming, literal, logical, if-then mindset for 6 to 9 months at a time, and then I might not be totally into it. I understand if you're in school, this can be incredibly frustrating. If you're at a job that requires you to be in one of those modes, that's tough. Like, I do have a tech job myself, but I don't have to be in the passionate about programming to do that job. I can still get the base responsibilities done. I might not be as enthralled to do them, but that's normal. You don't have to love your job every day when you go there. But my point is, I think it's useful to take the time to understand what your creativity is like and then learn to be okay with it. I have some friends out there that do content creation, and what they do, and you may have seen this, someone will start a new channel, they get really excited about content creation, and then a couple weeks go by and they're done with it. And it's like, okay, you were so stoked about this. This could be a motivation discipline thing, but sometimes it's just sort of like your hobbies, what's on your mind just changes and fluctuates. And it's hard to tell someone like, hey, you want to be good at content creation, you kind of got to stick with it. Like you got to keep doing it, man. You got to keep making videos. But yeah, I see this, and I think that these people would benefit from learning how their own brain works, not trying to force it. A lot of people think that they don't have to understand how their creativity works. They can just force it. They can be like, oh, well, I'm going to be creative now. It's like, kinda. There's a lot of things that you can consciously and there's a lot of things you can override with your brain. You can definitely mind over matter certain things, but there are other things that you really shouldn't. Like I said, I can program when I'm in the creative mode, but that will drain my energy. If I program while I'm in the programming mode, that will elevate my energy. And that energy level, once it's depleted, like I'm going to be fried for a couple days or whatever. So you have to watch out for that. Even though you can take over, you can, take your brain off autopilot and put it into conscious override mode. You can lock in and get things done. That may or may not come with a cost depending on how you are feeling at the time. So once you learn that about yourself, like I have taken the time to learn that about myself, I can forgive myself when I can't get things done that I would like to get done. But on the flip side, there's also positive benefits. Like I recognize now I'm feeling creative. I need to go do music, so I'll do that. I'll work on weird music projects that won't do as well in the algorithm. I have a music YouTube channel. It's not going to be as big as my programming one. That's cool. I'm totally fine with that. I don't even want it to. I've realized this. I don't care if my music content blows up. I don't even care if I go viral for any of this stuff. I don't care about that. Programming, I like seeing the views come in. I like growing an audience. I like talking to my audience. I think that's a lot of fun. But music is different. I think like when people experience music, especially music that I write, like they can go off on their own and experience it. I don't need to build community around that. My music is a way, it's my creative outlet. Programming and content creation is not my creative outlet. This is just something that I think is fun to do, and I like the community around it. I like the people in the comments. I like my mutuals on here that I get to talk to. So yeah, I know this video is kind of turning into me just talking about myself, but I think this is useful for anyone out there to do, because then it allows you to give yourself grace, to forgive yourself when you're not able to get done what you think you should be able to get done. Or if you do get it done, forgive yourself for taking a couple days off and having to crash out after it. Like that's totally fine. That's normal. So yeah, I would say take the time to learn how you're creative, how you get motivated, and it will just be beneficial. It'll just be another thing that you can learn about yourself that you can use to not exhaust yourself of resources, but actually to empower you and energize yourself. So yeah, hopefully that's useful.